Coco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we are brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. Go online to papajohns.com and order your pizza today. Barry, it's time for the inbox email questions answered here on video. Let's get started with Isaiah. He says, with the report of Alabama boosters paying off Nick Saban's $3.1 million home, obviously hypothetical, but if Bob Stoops were to have won more NCAA championships, could you imagine OU boosters doing the same to try to keep him?
Pay off the house. If Stoops had won more titles, I think that the boosters would offer to clean the castle, for crying out loud, which may cost $3.1 million to clean that thing. Sure, why not? Alabama does not have the corner on crazy fans. Now we know about the guy,
Harvey Updike, yep.
Poisoning the tree at Auburn, but yep. We got some of those ourselves. If Norman or Stillwater had a tree worth killing, somebody would have probably done it by now. So, sure, OU fans are that kooky. Some are. I don't think most are. I don't think most Alabama fans are. But it's always nice to pay a guy $6 million a year and then make his mortgage for him. I think that's always a humanitarian gesture.
So nice. I was worried about Nick Saban making that house payment. I'm so glad that Alabama's foundation came in and saved him from that. His wife and they're still in that 8,000 square foot home. Whew, I was so worried about it. By the way, that foundation that paid it off, it's a nonprofit. How does that work?
Well, I mean, you're not going to make a profit if you pay other people's mortgage.
Apparently, they pay for Alabama athletic facilities, which makes me wonder, when and if Nick Saban is no longer the Alabama coach, like retires or whatever, do they just hand it off to the next coach?
I don't know. I can't say.
I can't say either. It's all interesting. All right, back to the inbox from Mike. Mike says, to borrow a phrase from baseball, my guess on Mike Gundy's Mendoza line was 7-5 on an off year. And competitive always. I guess we'll see. Barry, a lot of talk about where the Cowboys fall here.
I'm with him. I didn't think OSU, I thought they'd reached the point where they would not fall into the potentially having a losing year, which is what OSU faces. If they don't beat Texas, I think they're going to go 5-7. So I thought it was a very good point by Mike. Of course, the Mendoza line goes back to the 1980s. Mario Mendoza was the Pittsburgh shortstop who couldn't hit a lick. If he got over 200, everybody thought that was a great year for him. So it became the 200 level, sort of became the Mendoza line. And I'm with Mike. I think Oklahoma State football, I thought it had progressed to where 7-5 was about the worst they could do.
Yeah.
We were wrong.
Yep.
Gundy, unfortunately, had some bad luck. Got a rebuilding year in which his quarterback got hurt, and the Big 12 got deeper with 5 really good teams. So I think Gundy's Mendoza line has dropped.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think, obviously the luck of this team with, especially the offensive line, when you start talking about the guys that left, the guys that are hurt and standing on the sidelines on Saturday, if they were healthy, they'd be probably not only starters, but stars on that offensive line. Obviously, the tough luck there. You've had injuries in the defensive secondary, a spot that was young. You've obviously lost your starting quarterback. So, lots of things that have gone wrong. But to me, it's more about the competition in the Big 12. I mean, when I looked at the teams in the preseason and was trying to figure out where to rank teams, there's no way I saw West Virginia being a team that I think can win the Big 12 right now, or TCU being in the spot there. And I thought they were just middle of the pack. I thought they were 6-6 teams. Now here they are looking at 10, 11 wins. To me, that's the biggest difference, is OSU's competition has just really stepped it up this year. All right, back to the inbox from Michael. He says, OU still has a very realistic shot at the Big 12 championship as well as a spot in the college football playoff. People have a tendency to not look ahead at matchups and losses by teams as well as unforeseen upsets. Well, Barry, we have a gauge on this because now we've got the first rankings in the college football playoff.
Yes, and I only have one question. I want to ask Michael. Michael, what color is the sky in your world? Here's the problem just winning the Big 12 with the Sooners. They need some help from West Virginia because West Virginia gets K-State and TCU. OU can take care of Baylor itself. Get the Bears to 2 losses, have the tiebreaker. But K-State needs 2 losses, TCU needs at least 1, and OU would not have the tiebreaker with either one. So they really need the losses to pile up. They need West Virginia to beat both K-State and TCU.
And then go on the road and lose?
But if that happens, West Virginia is going to finish with 1 loss and be the champ. So the mathematics don't work for Oklahoma. And the college football playoff, it's pretty clear. You're going to, I think there's going to be 4 teams with 1 loss or less. I don't see everybody, piling up 2-loss records. I don't think the Sooners are going to make it. They could make the top 10, get in a major bowl.
Yeah.
Easily could happen. Very likely will. If Oklahoma beats Baylor, they got a very good shot to get to the Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, someplace like that. Mm-hmm. College football playoff, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I tell you what, after in the 10 or 12 hours after they lost to K-State, you maybe could have seen them still having a chance to get there, but that was before last week, and it's something like West Virginia going to Oklahoma State and winning. They needed to lose in Stillwater to really make the math work out. That didn't happen. Another week of football has passed. More teams have won that OU needed to lose. You just keep having a shrinking body of losable games, really, for the teams ahead of OU. I just don't see it happen. And now that we've seen those rankings released for the first time, Barry, as you wrote, it just seems like the same old, same old. Like who you've lost to and who you've beat doesn't really matter.
Now you're just looking at the record.
Yeah, disappointing. All right, one more time back to the inbox. Mac has chimed in and says, if J.W. Walsh had been playing, he would have had 6 broken legs and 30 interceptions. Oh, my goodness. Remember the West Virginia game last year, the one that cost OSU the Big 12? With the team they have now, none would have succeeded. What they got this year was what they were supposed to do. What about that, Barry?
Well, I think Mac's nuts. I don't think this Oklahoma State team is supposed to be 5-7 and finishing 6th in the Big 12. I also don't think the West Virginia game last year cost OSU the Big 12 title. OSU had the Big 12 championship within its grasp in December. They had OU on the ropes in Stillwater, couldn't finish it off. That's the game that cost the OSU the Big 12 title. I think the Cowboys played very good offensive football against Florida State in August in Jerry World. Since then, without JW, they have not played good football. I think if Oklahoma State had J.W. Walsh, they would be in pretty good shape. But without him, the season's really gone south.
But, even if you insert J.W. Walsh into the lineup, is OSU better than TCU in playing them in Fort Worth? I don't think so. Are they better than West Virginia? I'm not sure they are. So I think they'd be right where they are now, even if J.W. Walsh was playing. And frankly, I'm still not convinced that the quarterback situation is really what we should be talking about. I know there obviously are concerns after what we saw last week with Dax Garman really looked to have an off day, but I don't think we really know how good or not good Dax Garman is because of that offensive line. What has he really been able to do? He's gotten sacked more than any OSU quarterback in recent history. He's obviously not mobile, so he needs that protection. He's just not getting it. I don't know if we've really got a good read on Dax Garman yet. And again, I'll say, I don't think, even with J.W. Walsh, OSU beats these last 2 teams that they've had on their schedule. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.